We're going to do this for quadratic functions. So you're going to find the quadratic function y equals ax squared plus bx plus c that will go through 3 points. So using 3 points on the function, you're going to create 3 equations and then solve the system. Okay? And it's real simple. So suppose we had these 3 points. 0, negative 8, 2, 0, and negative 3, negative 5. Bless you. And we're going to just use this guy over and over. So taking the first point here, replacing y, what's the y value? 0 or negative 8?
Negative 8.
So we have negative 8 equals a times x squared. So what's x?
0.
0. And then we have plus b times x. So what's x? 0. And then plus c. And then we do that again for this point. So using the second point, again, what's y?
0.
0. So 0 equals a times x squared. What's x?
2.
2. X is 2. And then for the third point, negative 5, good, equals a times negative 3 squared plus b times negative 3 plus c. So there's your 3 equations. So now let's work these out a little bit, make it a little cleaner. So for this first one, we have negative 8 equals 0 squared is 0 times a is 0 plus b times 0, that's 0. So what do we get?
0 plus c. Oh.
Which is just c.
Yep.
Good, hey, look at that. We already found what c is. Let's simplify the second one. 0 equals 4 squared, that's 4, so that's 4a plus 2b plus c. And simplify the third one. What's negative 3 squared?
9a.
9a minus 3b plus c. Is that okay so far?
Yep.
Good. Question?
No, I just need to.
I'll go ahead. So what do you think we would do next? We started here. All we did was use these 3 points and this fact. We substituted x and y in here and wrote an equation in terms of a, b, and c. And we did that 3 times, once for each point. Then we simplified those 3 equations. So what do you think would be the next step?
Where you plug in
Adam.
Plug in C and then
Plug in
yeah.
c. Plug in negative 8. We know what c is.
Nice.
Nice. We can put that here for c and reduce it down to 2 unknowns. So let's do that. So substituting negative 8 right here, we would have 0 equals 4a plus 2b minus 8, right?
Yep.
And then substitute it in the third one here. Negative 5 equals
9a
9a minus 3b
minus 8.
minus 8. And then we could move the 8 over here. So that would give us 8 equals 4a plus 2b. And again, with the 8 over there, what would it be here?
3.
3. And now you can solve that. It's just like the warm-up today. What do we look for? What do you gotta make?
Opposite.
Opposites. You gotta make them cancel. So what can we do?
Multiply the top one by -4. No, by -9.
So you want the top by,
-9. Oh, we're gonna look for the B?
well, these are smaller. I don't feel like multiplying by a 9.
Okay.
So we could go 3 and 2.
Minus 3.
Drop the 3 here and the 2 here. And that should give us opposites. 24 is equal to 12a plus 6b. 6 is equal to 18a minus 6b. So what does that give us? A equals
Thank you. 1.
1. So earlier we found that C equaled -8. We just found that A equals 1. How are we going to find our B? Plug them in, right? Yeah. So I'll just use the first equation, right? We already know A is 1. We can find B. So we had 8 equals 4 times 1 plus 2b.
Wait, what happened?
You're okay to here? You found A is 1?
Yeah, and then I don't know what you did after that.
Now I'm plugging it back into the first equation. So remember we had it down to just A and B, right?
Yeah.
So if A is 1, substitute a 1 right there for A. So you substitute that 1 right in there for A, and then you solve for B. And some of you are probably already done. What's B equal?
2.
Anyone?
2.
2. Subtract the 4, subtract the 4, so 4 equals 2b. Divided by 2. 2 is b. So we found b. So go back to this. Remember, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So now we could say that y equals
2. Oh.
a is 1, right? So 1x squared. Then we need b. So plus 2x minus 8. So there's your equation. So those 3 points, 0, -8, 2, 0, and -3, -5, all 3 of those points are on this parabola. Wasn't that fun? Another one?
Cut.
Repeat the last part. So do you know how we got these? They're just from right here. A, B, C, and we put them in A, B, C. So A is 1, B is 2, and C is -8. Comes it? Not too bad.
Wait, so that's our main answer?
This is your main answer. We found the quadratic function that all 3 of these points are on the parabola of this function. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you graph this function, you get a parabola, and these 3 points are on the parabola. All right. Excelente. Another one?
Sure.
One more to make sure you got it. Then there it is. All right. Let's use those 3 points. So what was the first thing we did? You remember the first thing we did?
On the y.
We found what y was, so we took 1 point at a time, right? And we used this standard form for the parabola, for our quadratic, you got negative 16 equals a times x squared. Which x goes with negative 16? Negative 1. And plus b times negative 1 plus c. So ax squared plus bx plus c, and there's our y. What about for the next point? 5 equals a times 2 squared, don't forget squared, plus b times 2 plus c. And the third point,
8.
8 equals a times
5 squared.
5 squared plus
B
times
5
5
plus C.
plus c. And go ahead and work those out, simplify them. I'll give you a minute to do that.
I forgot.
We good? Probably gonna come out. Check your equations. This is what you got? Everybody agrees? I didn't make any mistakes this time? We're good? Alright, now you're upset because you're like, whoa, wait a minute, Mr. G. On the last example, one of these were zeros and we found C right away, right? And now we don't have that. Oh, we start crying now, right? No. What are we going to do? What did we do Friday? What did we do on the warm-up? We look for opposites. So now we got to find some opposites in here. I don't see any, but these are almost opposites, right? I see a negative b and a positive 2b, so we can multiply that one by 2. I see a positive c and a positive c, we can multiply that by negative 1, and then these would be opposites, right? You can multiply by negative 4, and then these would be opposites, right? Does it matter? No, it really doesn't matter. So pick one. Which one do you want to do?
A. A.
You want to do the B?
A.
The C?
C.
Alright, get rid of this. So, negative 16 equals A minus B plus C. We'll take the second equation. 5 equals 4A plus 2B plus C. We're just going to work on those two. So let's multiply the top equation by negative 1. If we multiply the first equation by negative 1, we're going to get opposites in the C's. Okay, so let's do that. That's the easiest thing to do, and you'll see why in a second. So let's multiply the top by negative 1. So that's going to give us 16, negative A plus B minus C. Everybody okay with that? Negative times negative positive, negative times positive negative, negative times negative positive, negative times positive negative. Good. Then we add those up. 21 equals 3A plus 3B. And those are gone, right? Adios. Uh-oh. Which two equations did I use? I used that guy and I used that guy, right? Well, remember, if we have two variables, then we have to have two equations. I only have one equation. Where am I gonna get a second equation?
You're gonna bring up the other equation you didn't use.
I'm gonna bring up the other equation I didn't use. That's what's up. You guys know this. We're gonna do the same trick. We can use that first one, add it to that one. You're good. So keep this in your head for a second, in your notes. We're gonna have to use that guy as our first one. We need to make a little bit of room here. Need a bigger square. So multiply that by the negative, we had 16 equals negative a plus b minus c. So go ahead and add these two.
But you lost me.
Whoa, don't get lost. You're okay using the first two equations, right?
Yeah.
Good, that's what we did. We got that one, right? We reduced it. Now I'm going to use that first equation with the third one, right?
Yeah.
So I'm using that first equation, multiply that first equation by -1 like we did, and we had this. All I did was grab that guy and put it right there.
Okay.
So now I'm adding it to the third equation. Okay? So if we do that, we get 24 equals 24a plus 6b, because that goes away. Alright? So now I'll bring it up here with my first equation. So we have 24 equals 24a plus 6b.
What the fuck are you doing?
You're gonna have to help me. Well, I need the room because I didn't want to zoom two out and use the whole board, but I'm gonna need those equations back. All right.
Wait. What happened?
How are we gonna get opposites here?
6 -0.5, -2.
Multiply the top.
Yes.
You would multiply the bottom with -0.5.
You could. You could. But they want to do this one, so we'll stick with this one. So that gives us opposites here as well, Alice. So that's good. So that's -42 equals -6a minus 6b. So those go away. So subtract those, what do you get? 18 negative. Is that right? Yep, -18. And then 4, 18. Hey, so we got our first one. What's a equal? -1. Okay, so divide by the 18 and a equals -1. How are we going to find b?
I'll multiply by -8.
Plug it back in. Good job, Al. So we can take the first equation, 21 equals 3a plus 3b. Plug the -1 right there for a. So 21 equals 3 times -1 plus 3b. So 21 is -3 plus 3b. Add the 3. So 24 is 3b. So what's b equal? 8. So we found a, it's -1. B is 8. How are we going to find c? Plug them in back up to here. You got a and b, plug them in and you can find c. So I'm going to erase all this. And we're almost done. So -16 equals a.
Where'd you plug the a back into? Which equation?
So either the first or second one that we had reduced, and then solve for b.
So the one that.
It doesn't matter which one.
Doesn't really matter which one.
So like the one at the beginning, right? That we reduced. Is that what you just said?
Right.
No, it looks
Could
good
be
on
either
camera.
one.
Wait, what?
there's your c. So we have y equals -1 plus 8x. So we got -x squared plus 8x minus 7. So there's your quadratic function. Right? So that was a little bit longer, but still the same process. Look for opposites, eliminate variable. All right. Welcome to class. Another exciting day of Algebra 2. Yay. So today you'll be learning how to solve a system of three variables. Remember on Friday we reviewed from Algebra 1 how to solve a system of 2 variables. And we're going to learn how to solve a system of 3 variables by actually trying to find quadratic function. Y'all remember quadratic functions, right? Parabolas, good. So here's the standard form for quadratic function. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Right? Everybody remembers that?
Yes.
Good. Then if I have 3 points, and I were to ask you to find the quadratic function that would contain all 3 points, meaning if I graphed it, all 3 of these points would be on the parabola. How are we going to do that? That sounds complicated. Well, we say, oh wait, Mr. G, that's easy. Because this point, we know that that's just x and y, right? And we look over here and we see x and a y, right? So I would write an equation that would say -8, that's y, there's a y, equals a times x squared. What's x when y is -8?
0.
Put the 0 in there. Plus b times x, or 0, plus c. Hey, there's my first equation. But I have 3 points, so I have to do that 3 times, and we're going to have 3 equations. And we need 3 equations because we have 3 variables, a, b, and c. So for the second point, what's what?
0.
So 0 equals a times x squared, x is 2, good, plus b times 2 plus c. And what's the third equation?
-5. -3.
X, that goes with it, good.
Square. -3. Plus
Plus c. Excellent. So now we can work these out or simplify them a little bit. So -8 equals, simplify all this for me.
0.
C.
So it's just c, isn't it? Go ahead and simplify the second one. 2 squared is 4. 4a plus 2b
Plus
plus c. And simplify that third one.
6. No, 6.
9a minus 3b plus c. All right, progress. So we're a third of the way done because we have one of the 3 variables. We know that c is what?
-8.
-8. How can we use that to our advantage here?
Plug in.
To see.
Plug in, substitute the -8 right here, right?
Right.
All right, let's do that. So if we put the -8 here, we got 0 equals 4a plus 2b minus 8. And then the second one, -5 equals 90 minus 3b. Everyone's good there? Right. So now it's just like what we did Friday, or what you did for your warm-up or opener today. Two variables, two equations, you should be able to solve it, right? Yeah. So add the 8's over here. You got 8 equals 4a plus 2b. Add the 8's over here, what do you get? 3. 3 equals 9a minus 3b. What are we going to do to solve that? Opposites. So give me some numbers.
Multiply the top by 3
Top by 3,
and then bottom by 2.
bottom by 2. So distribute. So we get 24, 12a, 6b. 6, 18a, minus 6b. Good. You found opposites. Those add to 0. I get 30 equals 30a, so a equals 1. Oh, 1. How are we going to find b?
Plug it in.
Plug in A.
Substitute a into one of these guys, right? So we had 8 equals 4a plus 2b. We know that a is 1. So 8 equals 4 plus 2b. 4 equals 2b. So b is
2.
2. There it is. So now we can write our quadratic equation, ready? Our function is y equals,
1 x squared
so 1x squared or just x squared
plus
plus 2x
minus
minus 8. Wow, isn't that cool? Aren't you excited? You just found the quadratic function that has all those 3 points that I erased. Right? It has 0, negative 8, 2, 0, and negative 3, negative 5. All 3 points would be on the graph of that equation. Everyone good there? Recording? Alright, so let's look at this second example. Right, we're going to continue solving this system with 3 variables. We again want to find a quadratic function that has all 3 points. Solve it. They're all 3 points are going to be on the graph of the function or on the parabola. So how did we do that? What goes in there? Negative 16 equals a
Negative 1 squared
good.
plus negative 1 equals plus C.
Excellent. So there's our first point. X and y. Plug them in for x and y. Now you do it again for the next point.
5 equals A 2 squared plus B 2 plus C.
Good. And the third point.
A equals 5.
Everybody's good there? Yeah? Alright. So like before, go ahead and simplify those. So we're going to have negative 16 equals A minus B plus C. And here, 5 equals 4A plus 2B plus C. And the third one, 8 equals 25A plus 5B plus C. We good there? Yeah. But, uh-oh. Now we're kind of upset because the last example, we had zeros and we were able to find C. Now we don't have any zeros. So think back to Friday and your warm-up. What are we going to look for? Opposites. So we still gotta do opposites. Okay? So I'm gonna take the first two equations. Right? So let's start there. So we're gonna have negative 16 equals a minus b plus c. And 5 equals 4a plus 2b plus c. I'm going to multiply the top equation by negative 1. If we do that, it creates opposites in the c variable, right? Everyone okay with that? So that makes it 16 equals negative a plus b minus c. Now we can add those up because the c's are opposites. So those go away. So 16 plus 5 is 21. That's a 3a plus a 3b, right? Everybody's good there? And you say, oh, wait a minute. We got it down to two variables, a and b. But if it's two variables, then I need two equations. Because now I can't eliminate again. Not to worry. We got this one, right? We haven't used this guy yet. So we get to do this again, second time. So this was the first time. So now we're going to have negative 16 equals a minus b plus c with our third equation. A equals 25a plus 5b plus c. And multiply again the top one by negative 1. So we get 16 equals negative a plus b minus c. And look what happened to the c's. Those are going to cancel again to 0. This is our second round, right? So the first, second time, add these up. 24 equals 24a plus 6b. Whew. Is that too fast for okay? That's good? All right, good. So now, grab this equation. Put it over here with this equation. So you're going to have 24 equals 24a plus 6b with 21 equals 3a plus 3b. So see, we took 3 variables, we reduced it down to just 2 variables. And guess what? We do the same thing again. We got to look for an opposite. And reduce one of these, so multiply what?
Negative 2 on the bottom.
Negative 2 on the bottom. So that gives me negative 42 equals negative 6a minus 6b. With the top equation, the 6b's are opposites. They're gone. What does that leave us? Subtract those. 24, 34, negative 18 equals 18. So A is?
Negative 1.
Negative 1. All right. Progress. Now we just need to find B and we need to find C. How are we going to find B?
Just plug it in.
Just substitute it into one of these two. Don't go back up here, because if you try to put negative 1 in here, you're still going to have 2 unknowns. So just to the last 2. Okay? So I'm going to take 24 equals 24a plus 6b. Put the negative 1 into there. So we get 48 is 6b. So b is 8. found A, we found B. How are we going to find C? Now you plug both of those into one of the first equations, right? So, what do we get? The first equation was negative 16 equals A minus B plus C. So we know A is negative 1. And we know B is 8. So negative 16 equals negative 9 plus C. Add the 9. So negative 7 is C. So what is our function going to be? Y equals negative x squared plus 8x minus 7. There it is. Done. So it was a little bit of work, but not impossible. Just remember, use the 3 points, use the standard form, get your 3 equations, simplify those, and then start reducing it by finding opposites. That's all we did. Found the opposites, those go away. Found opposites, those go away. Plug them back in, and you get your function, A, B, and C. Okay? We're good?
Yeah.
All right.